Hello, hello. We are all here to discuss how to make your process of web page or website, in fact, or any kind of web development process of QA reviews and collaboration better. Some of the best practices based on what I've learned over the period of time talking to clients, doing web development myself. My name is Bhavya Agarwal. I'm the CEO of zipBoard, and I'm joined with Nathan Wong. He's a product manager at zipBoard. I'm going to wait for a few minutes till we get our attendees settled. And once we have more people pouring in, we'll get started. Feel free to ask questions and, put questions in the chat. We'll be looking out for anything that we can help you guys with. Okay, so a quick agenda of what we'll be discussing today. It's a short half an hour presentation. We'll be talking about what are the common problems with web page, not literally just web page, any website projects, and and how the bug tracking and QA process can be made easier. And then we'll talk about how you can make that process easier, how you can make the entire stakeholder collaboration easier, and we will show you a quick demo of how zipBoard can improve that entire process. Very quick introduction about zipBoard. We are a review and approval software for all kind of design reviews. When we say design reviews, really actually any kind of document and digital reviews. You can enter your website, you can add your documents like PDF documents, videos, learning courses, and really make collaboration easier by pointing and clicking and adding notes directly on the content that you're reviewing. We're used by companies across the world, large and small, agencies and enterprises, simplifying their workflow for an easier collaboration, especially remote, since world has changed to remote. So really quickly talking about why do we really need to care about a QA review cycle. And this I'm going to really come back and talk about my story first. I was in India, and I had a team that I was working with. I had some clients and I was helping with web development projects in QA. And we were distributed all across the world. I was in India, the client was in the US, 2 different time zones. We had teams in Poland. So we were really spread out with different time zones. We were trying it hard to get on a Skype call and, just sit together and discuss what do we need to do or what are the issues that we need to resolve. We did have Jira, but still it was very cumbersome to sort of write down every damn thing that this is what is wrong, right? And that's where we jumped into, and I used to often do this, and my client used to often do this. They will take screenshots, add their notes, attach it to Jira, attach it to email. And that's really what is the problem with the QA review cycles, right? It's just so haphazard. It's just like, you're working and collaborating on different spaces. Your client and internal team are not connected. You get information in one place, but that information is not translating to the other set of stakeholders. And all that really leads to what? A lot of rework, because if you're not catching your mistakes early enough, you're definitely setting up your project for a lot of complicated mess that you have to rework on, engineering debt, things that you need to go back and fix. And it's costly. Delays, which definitely no client is happy about. You predict something, you think that this project will finish in 6 months and it ends up taking 9 months. Nobody's happy about that. Of course, payment delays, depending on how your agency is structuring payments, and sometimes it's an internal agency, you do not see the cost of impact, but there is always a cost related to any kind of delays, right? And the chaos that it brings. And the last is the disconnected information. Really, like at the end of the day, if all stakeholders are not connected and they do not know why they're doing what they're doing, it becomes a very disconnected system. So really, if you're not thinking about setting up a review cycle and having a process around a QA review cycle, you need to think about these things, because it will really, cut your costs, bring the cost down by almost 50%. At least that's what we have seen with our clients and with ourselves as well. Some of the common challenges that we've seen for QA reviewers, and again, we're calling everybody QA reviewer is because, whether it's a client, whether it's the internal team, whether it's a project manager or your marketing manager, they're all reviewing for some kind of QA to make the quality better. And everybody has different part to play, right? And some of the challenges that we have seen is, of course, there is a significant delay between feedback and implementation. The feedback comes from the client. By the time it reaches the developer, there is huge missing information. So there's a lot of back and forth. So there's a lot of delay in that, right? Disorganization due to disconnected systems. Your internal team might be talking on spreadsheets, on Slack, on Teams, and your client is talking on emails or another set of spreadsheets. So it's like, again, everybody is not connected. You're copying things from one system to another. You're making, you're making archives yourself. It's not very productive. And then if your reviews are not enabled properly, like imagine if I have to give notes on this page, that button doesn't work. I mean, it seems like a lot of work. So reviewers keep on pending that whole process. And okay, I'm gonna go back and sit on it when I get time, and that never happens, right? And then there are multiple segments also in the review process, right? If especially for larger projects, there can be a marketing team, there can be a copywriting team, there's a compliance team who's going to, there's a security team. So many teams having to do the review, maybe in parallel, maybe in a sequential order, but all that, if it is not well connected, you might be looking at different versions. You might not be aware of some of the changes that were impacted because of somebody else's review. And really not having a very good scale or visibility on all the issues. So again, if they're broken down into different spreadsheets, different systems, then you would not really have a good place to have a full visibility on the systems, right? You would not know where are all my issues, how many are left, how did we perform in our last project, how much time does it take for us to get to one project. And of course, one of the biggest challenges working with external stakeholders. It's easy when you're on an internal Slack team to keep on having that conversation. Maybe you have frequent Zoom calls as well. But what about these external stakeholders, the clients who are busy? How do you really make sure that you integrate their feedback well in time, in an easy manner? So let's really quickly, and I've already touched upon some of these things, really, really quickly talk about what does the QA review process look like for web pages today. Typically, there's a project team, they will set up a staging server, or maybe even, maybe of course, the design gets discussed in Figma or somewhere else today. But, by the time really the first sprint starts happening, there is a lot of review and QA that's still required. There might be multiple stakeholders, depending on the project, the size of the project, who all are involved. And you would get inputs from everywhere. So all that input could be happening in spreadsheets today, could be happening in tools like Jira or another project management tool. And then you send it to client for review as well. All of this goes through multiple cycles, and then you finally get to publish your project. Having said that, you definitely are never ever done with any web project. You keep going back in loops and circles, right? But it's a complex project and a process. And if it is not centralized, if it is not put together in one place, it can quickly become a mess. So what are the ways we suggest, or we've seen, that improve your entire process of, bug tracking and QA review? I think the number one thing that we have to look at is, how do you get as much input as possible to your developers? I remember days, and I was a developer once, I remember days when I would just walk into the QA's room and say, hey, can you show me how did this happen? Because I cannot reproduce it. But those days are long gone. And of course, it's not always possible. So if you are able to provide all the input possible to the developer team, that look, this is where the issue is, this is the environment that it was in, that really helps in keeping the process easier, more compact, and getting everything possible to make it easy to reproduce. Eliminate any kind of friction caused by system switching. Like if you're copying stuff from one system, let's say you're using zipBoard or you're using a spreadsheet and then moving it to email, then moving it to Jira, it's a complicated mess again. You do not want that, right? So you want your systems to either talk to each other directly, or you want your systems to have one centralized system if possible. And if again reviewers are using multiple tools, one reviewer is saying, I'm going to take screenshots and attach, I'm going to just tell you in Zoom call, it becomes a segregated process that is not. So we need to make sure that again everybody's using the same review system, so that it's all standardized and your project team is not struggling in collating all that in different ways. And even eliminating your segments and centralizing your workspace, right? Having one connected system, having one place to go from one version to another, having an easy way to go back to the history as well, so that you know why certain decisions were taken. Some of those things simplify the entire process. And the next is, and I think I've seen often, we do not look at we do not have one central place. We do not have data to tell, okay, you know what, this is how we performed in our in our projects, and this is where we could make improvements. And this is very important, especially if you're working at scale. If you're building 100 sites in a day, in a month, you need to know, how can I remove any kind of inefficiencies, and how can I make it a more robust system, right? And then this sounds abstract right now, but you want a quick and easy way for your clients to access your review. They shouldn't have to again struggle. Hey, can I get on a call with you and give you feedback? Can I, can I record a loop video? Can I send it to you in a spreadsheet? Again, giving them one centralized place, one place where they can add notes or whatever that system is, that'll help in getting your reviews standardized, in getting your reviews more systematic. So I'm going to hand over to Nathan now. He's going to talk about how all of this can be achieved. Some of it definitely can be achieved with zipBoard, and of course in setting up the right processes. So Nathan, you can take it.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, the great thing about zipBoard is you can really access it from anywhere. You can upload content or you sync it with any of your EMS, as well as what we discussed earlier, right? You can mark up your web page using various tools. You can assign bugs to your developers. You can generate reports instantaneously, and it's very, very easy and user-friendly to share with internal and external stakeholders. And lastly, you can also customize your review cycles. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at what that kind of looks like. So let's get into how you can QA test your web page with zipBoard. So with zipBoard's embedded markup tools, you can annotate and comment directly on your web pages. And this replaces the tedious and manual process of entering feedback manually into spreadsheets. So reviewing your first web page is really simple. So to get started, add the URL of your web page and give it a name real quick. Oh, is this? I guess the video is not playing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. So just get started by adding the URL. It's still having a hard time loading.
Okay.
Yeah, so enter the URL, give it a name, give it a quick description. I don't know why this is a problem.
Is it the buffer?
I don't know, because this should be loaded into the presentation. There shouldn't be a buffer. It's already.
Sorry, guys, that's some Canva issues for us, but
Yeah. Just to be
let's
clear,
see.
Nathan, this
Yeah,
is a recorded video, right? Like we're not doing this on zipBoard.
Yeah, this has been pre-recorded in
Yeah.
terms of the content. So
yes, yeah. Well, let's see if we can replay it from the start, or do you want to just jump into the product?
here I can try to replay it from the start if that
Right.
works for you. So let's see. Okay, so it looks like it's going, no, it's still facing the same issue. I am very sorry about that. Okay, well, here it looks like it's playing. So what you can see is, oh, no, I guess you can't see.
Let's talk through it so that, in the meantime, we can.
Yeah, so basically what happens here with your markup tools is that you can add various different types of annotations to it. And with those annotations comes comments. So the annotation that I was trying to demonstrate here was a box. And with that box, you can basically encapsulate any part of your web page and then add a comment on it. And this provides simple and easy visual and text feedback to whoever comes across or whoever you assign this to. So here it is, adding the comment. I really hope the rest of the videos are not like this. But why don't we go ahead and skip to, I guess, the next slide and see. So basically what I've done here is I've added a box comment and we have an arrow comment, the other arrow annotation. So the other things that we can add is general pencils, or we can use highlighters to highlight certain text within our web pages.
Yeah, the general idea is that everybody on the team gets to actually see the same content, and they're able to see the notes directly on the web page, rather than,
Yes.
rather than having to go back and, go back and take notes and add separate notes or add separate videos around, where the issues are.
Yeah, and because it's all kind of centralized, so the comments that we just made while reviewing the web page, they get captured in zipBoard and they can be assigned to team members. So you can give them tags, you can choose their priority level, and you can assign them just different due dates. So hopefully this one works. So now we're having the same issue right now.
Can we just use the tool, Nathan? Would that be better?
I would have to jump off to do that and impromptu set something up, which I guess could be okay. Basically, yeah, so here you can see that you can jump into your task list and you'll see that the comments that I just made are posted as tasks within zipBoard. And what you can do here is you can assign these tasks to anyone in your organization. You can change its status, so open, resolved, fixed, in progress, whatever. You can change the type, so perhaps it's not a bug, maybe it's just an enhancement, or maybe it's a feature. You can change the priority level. If something's critical, you need it done now. And you can also add due dates to it. But the other thing that's really cool about here is that you can actually collaborate directly in zipBoard on the task. So you can do this by adding people. And so if you have additional comments to make, or if they're unclear on what you wrote about in your task, they can go ahead and add you, or you can go ahead and add them, and they'll get notified immediately of a comment or a task related to them within zipBoard. Okay, so this one's doing pretty good.
Yeah, there's more additional information, and I guess we've not shown it here, but you can actually even get all the details, like what Chrome version, whether it was in Mac, was it, so all the environment details as well. So when again the developer jumps in, they have all that information, and that's automatically captured when the feedback is captured. So you have all that reference information as well.
So when it comes to sharing content and getting feedback from clients, if you're reviewing your project with others, you can invite them to your project or give them a share link. So they'll be able to review using the same tools, the same markup tools, and they'll be able to see the content. So they'll be able to share their insights into your QA review. So what that looks like is you can add collaborators in your project quite easily. So you just go to the side and collaborators, and then you can specify what kind of collaborator they are. So for here, we have collaborators and clients, and to add them is just simply add their email address, and you'll see that if they have a zipBoard account, they'll automatically be a part of your project. So here, I demonstrated adding a collaborator, and now this is the same process, adding a client. So the other cool thing you can do in zipBoard is that you can share individual web pages. So in this demo, obviously I only have one web page here, but let's say I got like 20. I can click on the 3 dots in the corner of the web page I want to share, and I can click share. Here, you can also share it directly with your collaborators as well as your clients. So you just check their names off on the list and they'll get notified. And the other really cool thing is that you can go to a guest view. So that means that collaborators will be allowed to basically load the content without creating a zipBoard account, and they'll be able to review it. So they'll have the exact same capabilities that you have as somebody who is a user of zipBoard. So they'll have the exact same markup tools. They'll have the exact same, basically everything, the same UI. They'll even be able to see your comments that were made onto the web page. So as you can see, I've opened up this review site using the link, and I can see the comments that I made prior.
So essentially they will not, they have an option. You have an option to set it up in a way that you want them to see others' comments or you don't. And you can actually set the link in that way so that they don't see all the comments as well. And they don't have to be part of the entire project. They only get to see their site that they're reviewing, and they are able to quickly add notes to it rather than getting into the complicated mess of every task.
Yeah. So next, we can touch upon setting up review cycles. So in zipBoard, we are able to use phases to create review cycle based on the different reviewers and different progress levels of your work. So I'm going to show you a quick example of what that looks like. So setting up review cycles is easy and it's quite customizable in zipBoard. So using phases in your projects, you can use them basically you can start by adding whatever kind of phase that you want. So for this example, this cycle is based on completion, but you can customize your own cycles to your own liking. So I'm going to put in initial review, 50% complete, 75% complete, and then lastly, the final review.
So you could set up your individual project, and for every project, even like if you have a staging site, a dev site, or multiple sites as well, you can set up those as well. If you have a Figma link, you can add that, an Adobe XD link, or all those could also be added into phases so that you can track the entire project in one place.
Yeah, and so once they've been set up, you can allocate the web page and the progress to each phase. And as you can see, it's very easy, just drag and drop it. So once your initial review is done, it can get moved to 50% complete. And once that's done, it can get moved to 75% and onto the final review. So zipBoard integrates.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
There is a question. I'm gonna wait till you finish this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So zipBoard integrates with any external tools as well. So we do that using APIs. So our users never really have to worry about migrating away from their current software tools if they want to mark up documents using zipBoard. So a little demo on that would be with Jira. So you can integrate projects by clicking on the project settings. And it's just a quick overview of what that looks like here. So I've already integrated with Jira. So this is what it looks like as a new user. So this is what the project would be that I'm integrated with Jira. So now that I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add an annotation. The annotation is going to come back with a comment. So I could say, change this. And what you'll see here is that not only does this task get captured in zipBoard, so when we come back here, you can jump into tasks. We'll see that change this picture is a task in zipBoard, but it also will be reflected in Jira. So if we jump into Jira, we'll see that that issue is now automatically generated. And because they're fully integrated, if I do anything in Jira, so let's say I change the status to to-do, from to-do to in progress, you'll see in zipBoard that it also gets changed to in progress. Bhavya, do you want to take the question?
I think you will address one of the questions. One of the question is what kind of QA reports the tool generates. I think that the next section will address that. Why don't we go ahead with that?
Yeah, sure. So zipBoard allows you to generate, all kinds of reports based on the bugs that you've found. So you can see how all the different kinds of issues based on their status, their priority type, when they were created, who created them, and many, many more. So here's a very quick recap of what that might look like. So on a project level, you can go into reports and you can take a look at basically any of the tasks or the issues reported, by date, by priority, by type, etc. And so again, for this project, it was a project I created just for this webinar. And so what's reflected in the issues is just the issues that I created that you saw earlier. But the other cool thing is if you go on an organizational level, you can take a look at the reports there. And here you have a lot more comprehensive information because this will give you a rundown of basically your entire organization. So not just issues related to one project, but all projects across. So let's say you got like 10 projects going with 5 different managers. You'll be able to aggregate all that data and see, the issues by type, assigned date, when they were created, the different kind of tags we have for them. And yeah.
Yeah, you can also download CSVs of all the tasks and issues that are created and run your own reports as well. But that's one of the ways in which we have built-in reports that let you at least track your performance, understand, how many issues are really created and how many are getting resolved in time and things like that. And we're very open to, of course, getting feedback on adding more reports if needed be. There's also one more question about, I have 2 separate teams working on multiple projects. Will I need to set up the entire team? The designer, dev, QA. Really depends on how you want to structure it. You can set up your team in a way that you invite every one of your internal stakeholders as collaborators in the project. You can even, in fact, set up managers if you feel like your managers manage different projects and they should not have access to each other's projects. But your clients and external reviewers, you can just share a link with them. And that's where that sharing link helps for them to not have to see entire internal view. You don't want them to be part of the internal discussion and get bogged down by every small little detail. So you can do that. Might not be relevant to the webinar, but any suggestions how to actually start web page from scratch? What ISP or software to use? Yes, I think I'll be honest, we're not the best, at least I'm not the best, the most knowledgeable resource on that, so I would not want to make any comments on that. But I'm sure if we can find some resources, we will send across in email. We can definitely share from some of our partners who've written about that stuff, or from our developers. So I think that's about the questions. I'm going to quickly wrap it up again here right on time to say that, okay, you do want to simplify your review process with zipBoard. Some of the advantages are that it is very quick to set up. It's fully cloud-based. You're not doing any installations. It really works out of the box. You can do customizations, but you really do not need to make customizations to make it work for your team. And it's very easy to use for all stakeholders, especially non-technical stakeholders. If your clients, your reviewers are non-technical and they do not want to get into the details of how do I click this button. They just experience the product and they start adding notes. And that's what is the beauty of it. You can automatically capture all feedback. You have one place to capture all that feedback. And really you can, manage your feedback and reviews and QA cycles all in one place at scale without having to move away from your workflow, really integrating into your workflow. That is a wrap. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. My email is bhavya@zipboard.co. And overall, you can also sign up at zipboard.co for a demo, or if you want to personally reach out to know more. Not just about zipBoard, but also to discuss about what are the challenges that you have about QA process and how we can help improve that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.